Hello, this is staff member Teresa Geisecker. Today's major thoroughfare and freeway plan meeting of the Planning Commission will be called to order as scheduled at 1 p.m. Commissioners Dalton and Kane, thank you for being on camera. We recognize that you're here. And we do ask everyone else who's joining us to please mute yourself and turn off your cameras unless you're recognized to speak, and that it would be an option to turn it on when you're recognized to speak. Thank you so much for joining us. The meeting will be starting shortly. Commissioner Tahir, thank you for having your camera on. We appreciate you being here, and we see Commissioner Nelson also joining remotely.
Can you also hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you, Commissioner Tahir. And Commissioner Nelson, we did acknowledge that you're joining the meeting as well. Everyone else is welcome to turn off their cameras to help with the transmission during the meeting, and certainly keep yourself muted as well until you're called to speak. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good to go.
Madam Chair, combination of online, virtual, and in person, we appear to have quorum.
Hi, good afternoon. It is 1 o'clock on Thursday, May 12th, 2022. This is a special session of the Houston Planning Commission for the purpose of holding a workshop on 2022 proposed amendments to the Major Thoroughfare and Freeway Plan. To verify that we have a quorum, I will call the roll. The chair is present. Vice Chair Garza
Present.
is present. Commissioner Abraham does not appear to be present. Commissioner Alleman is present. Commissioner Baldwin is present. Commissioner Clark is not present. Commissioner Heish
Present.
present. Commissioner Hines is present. Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Maras will be absent. Commissioner Nelson
Nelson present.
is present virtually. Commissioner Porras Pirtle,
Present virtually.
present virtually. Commissioner Robbins is present. Commissioner Rodriguez will be absent. Commissioner Rosenberg is not present. Commissioner Sigler is not present. Commissioner Tahir
Present virtually.
is present virtually. Commissioner Victor will be absent. Commissioner Kane, I think you're muted, but Commissioner Kane is present virtually. Commissioner Dalton
Present virtually.
is present virtually. Commissioner Smith is not present, and Director Margaret Wallace Brown
Present.
is present. 14 members have responded to roll call. We have a quorum. We'll get this going in just a moment. I did want to clarify for anybody watching or listening that this meeting is a workshop. This is primarily for the benefit of the commission. This will be the first time we have had a chance to look at the proposed amendments. We'll be taking no action on them today. We will be having a public open house on the amendments, public hearings before the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission will act on them formally in late summer, and eventually they will go to City Council for approval. So we're very early in the process. We do have a public comment section at the end of the meeting. So if you would like to speak on something at the end, we can call on you at that time. In the meantime, unless you're speaking, please keep your phones or computers muted. And if you are only if you are a commissioner, please keep your camera on so we don't have video lag. So we need to keep the commissioners on as always so we can count them for quorum. With that, I'm going to turn this over to Director Margaret Wallace Brown for the director's report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Margaret Wallace Brown, and I am the Secretary to this Commission and Director to the Houston Planning and Development Department. I want to remind all of the Commissioners that we have two separate meetings today. When this Major Thoroughfare and Freeway Plan Amendment Workshop is finished, you will need to log into a different link, a different Teams link at 2:30. The link is on our houstonplanning.com website. Please make sure you update where you're going. The next Major Thoroughfare planning activity is the 2022 Major Thoroughfare and Freeway Plan Open House, which is on Wednesday, June 15th, from 5:30 to 7:30. It will be held virtually only. For connection details, you can also visit our website at houstonplanning.com. And that concludes my director's report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? If not, we will go to Roman numeral 1, which will introduce our proceedings today with Sharon Moses Burnside. Your mic on?
Here we go. How about that? Is that
Great.
better? Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the Planning Commission. Today, we're going to go ahead and get started with our 2022 MTFP workshop. We're going to do something a little bit different today. I'm not going to talk about the terminology or the definitions to save time because we have 11 applicants and 15 amendments. So in the interest of time, we'll go ahead and move forward. Next slide. So you know the agenda, introduction, amendment request, etc. Next slide. Everything is on the webpage. We also have, for more information, if you need information, just go to our webpage directly. Preliminary reports, everything you need is there. Next slide. Quickly, we're going to run through the timeline just so that you can see where we are. And I hope you all can see that we started out in February and we ended it in March 4th. Going to the next slide. So we're walking through the process, making sure that we go through the public open house, as you mentioned earlier. Then we'll have the recommendation meeting finally at the end. So without further ado, in the interest of time, I'm going to start with the applicants. Is that okay, Madam Chair?
Thank you for your brevity. Go right ahead.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Adam France. I'm a senior planner with PGE. We're a firm based out of Houston. As you can see on the screen, our first amendment is Booty Road and Pruitt Road, located in Montgomery County Precinct 3 within the City of Houston ETJ. Next slide. This is just a graphic. So our request today is to delete the major collector from the City of Houston Major Thoroughfare Plan. This road first appeared on Montgomery County's Major Thoroughfare Plan in 2016. That plan was done by HGAC. In 2018, the City of Houston adopted all the amendments that were made to the Montgomery County Thoroughfare Plan at that time and added them to the City of Houston Major Thoroughfare Plan. In 2021, Montgomery County did an amendment process for their Major Thoroughfare Plan, and at that time, this road was removed from their plan. So we are requesting the deletion from the City of Houston Major Thoroughfare Plan at this time.
Okay, so this would put our plan in sync with Montgomery County.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. Any questions or comments, commissioners? Okay, thank you. I think we got
Thank you.
that. Great. The next speaker is Amendment B, Fulton Street, San Jacinto Street, Ralph DeLeon. Mr. DeLeon, are you virtual or in person?
I'm here and I'm virtual. Can you hear me?
Hi. Hi, go right ahead.
All right, thank you. So I'm the administrator for TERS 21. That's the Hardy near Northside Zone. We are asking for the connection between the terminus of San Jacinto to Burnett to be removed from the Major Thoroughfare Plan. It has been on the plan for some time. I did provide a more detailed backup in the application. I'm looking at the report that was provided for you folks. It does provide good background. When this particular item was put on the Major Thoroughfare Plan, it did not contemplate the future construction of the light rail on Burnett Street, on Fulton Street. It did not contemplate the future realignment of the I-10, which is going to move north. It did not contemplate the Elysian Viaduct project or the Hardy Toll Road Connector project. And so it actually is a bit outdated in the sense that there are other options that are coming online. This is not funded. Additionally, the neighborhood has changed. It's begun to become a very walkable, bikeable place. And because Fulton, the right-of-way north of boundary, is now filled with a dual lane system for the light rail, there really isn't available right-of-way. And the only way this could be constructed in its entirety would be for the taking of homes and the displacement of people. The board has looked at all of this. This was on the March 20th agenda. The decision to prepare and submit the application. They probably will come back in subsequent years and ask for Fulton north of Burnett to be reclassified into a smaller street. Right now it's classified as a major thoroughfare, but this particular amendment really is just to remove this sort of dotted line, this connection between the future San Jacinto. I will say that we have obtained the drawings from Steve Hershner of HNTB. He's one of the engineer of records for the TxDOT I-10 project. They're elevated immediately south of the railroad tracks that you see, and the original inclusion of this connector between Burnett and, Fulton and San Jacinto shows an overpass. More recently, there are new drawings that show an underpass There was a letter written from the city to the state asking for the state to pay for it. There's another letter coming back to the city where the state has declined to fund the underpass. It's within the boundaries of TERS 21. In my narrative, I show that the TERS will terminate before they will have money to fund this project. And I forgot one piece of history. So originally this was put on to the major thoroughfare plan when the Cypress project, which is this sort of odd shaped green space you see in your screen, to connect that project, which was originally intended to be a mixed use project, to downtown. There was a shortage of money. Specifically, Union Pacific wanted close to $2 million for the right of way, and there was for the aerial rights to do an overpass that was never constructed. The project was to be funded by a developer of that site and then reimbursed by the TERS. An alternate project was then identified and constructed. So Burnett was reconstructed. Main Street, the Hernandez Tunnel, was partially demoed and shortened. There used to be a grade separation at Burnett and Main that is now an at-grade intersection. And so the project itself was basically replaced by an alternate project, which did get constructed. So I'm going to stop for a second and see if there are any questions for me.
Okay, yeah, this is a fairly complicated equation here. Any questions, comments? I think we're okay. Mr. De Leon, will you be working with our staff on behalf of the TERS as we go forward and review these?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. If there are no questions, we will go ahead and move on. And this is what we're asking, is to remove it from the plan entirely.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker will be on Amendment C, South Wayside Drive, Carmen Pearson with Lovett Industrial. I think this will be virtual as well. Carmen Pearson, are you there? There you are. Hello? I think you are muted at this point. Ms. Pearson?
Yes,
Hey, I heard you say yes.
can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, now we can. Go right ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you. So this project can you go to the next slide, please? So this project is located just south of 610 along Makawa, about 1 mile south of 610, and at the intersection of Makawa and Dixie Drive. Next slide, please. So this is the right of way that we are proposing to be abandoned. What the application has several different exhibits in it that are helpful, but just for your knowledge, the right of way where it connects with Dixie is 100 feet, and then it widens out to 299 feet at Makawa. So currently there are no plans in the CIP plans to improve this section of right of way. There is an ongoing project on the north side of Wayside up to 610 that is being funded by the City of Houston and the TERS 8 for Gulf Gate area phase 2. The one other thing that you can see in the consolidated transportation planning, it does show a proposed freeway tollway through the property. However, the current TxDOT TxDOT schematic shows their plans to intersect and they come down and connect with Dixie, and it's not actually at the location of the Wayside right of way in Dixie. We have plans to complete. Currently, the project is platted in 2 sections on either side of this major thoroughfare. We have a comprehensive plan to develop a Class A industrial park in this area, which will really boost the economy of this area and draw more jobs. We, in this plan, it would certainly be, we have a detention facility already approved to service the whole tract, and have added additional detention in the event that we're successful with this right-of-way abandonment. The detention and seamlessness of the park would be greatly benefited by the abandonment of this right-of-way. Additionally, where the right-of-way turns and connects to Makawa, there's a railroad on the east side of Makawa, so an elevated structure would have to be constructed there. There's already a rail crossing at Dixie, and I don't believe that it's feasible to have another at-grade crossing. And I just don't think that it's feasible to construct it over both Makawa and the railroad.
Time.
No other
Okay.
landowners would be directly impacted by the removal of this right-of-way.
That's what I was going to ask. How much of the empty space in the middle of this map does Lovett own at this point? The whole thing?
Yes, all of it.
Okay. And does your plat cover the whole area?
It does. It does.
Okay.
Section 1 is the smaller area on the west side. We don't own the hard corner on Makawa and Dixie. And then the east side goes further than this map shows, but all of the available area there is currently our tract.
Okay, great. Does that conclude your presentation?
It does. Thank you.
Okay, hold on. We'll see if there are questions. Commissioner Alleman?
Yes, I was wondering about getting more information about the alignment that TxDOT does have for State Highway 35.
I put the current schematic in the application so you can see what they're planning to do there.
Okay, does it at all impact your property, or where does it go, east or west, or?
No, it comes from the north and then it's elevated, not over Wayside, it's elevated to the west of Wayside and it comes down and terminates at Dixie Road. But again, not at the right-of-way, South Wayside right-of-way location.
Okay, but it's not, 35 does not go south of Dixie then?
No.
Well, okay.
Yeah, and right, and I know our staff is taking good notes on this.
Right.
By the time we get to a place where we're going to be considering these, I'm sure we'll have those schematics and drawings.
Yeah,
and
that's
that.
why I wanted to bring it
Yeah,
up now to
make sure. Okay. Yes, Commissioner Smith?
Just adding to that, I'd be interested as we go along and get briefed on this. The contrast between these two involving TxDOT's plans. The first one, I'm aware that TxDOT has proceeded through an environmental finding, which is an important milestone that largely locks in their alignment. I don't recall on this one, but for the commission's consideration of TxDOT's status, that's documented at the time we vote as to what the status is. And I'd be interested in staff following along that and being able to brief us on that, and perhaps
Yeah.
getting TxDOT's.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Okay. Okay.
And
Any other
we're
questions?
continuing.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say we're continuing to follow the TxDOT schematic as they're released, and currently there's nothing planned for this portion.
Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on it too.
This Commissioner-
Okay. If there are no other questions for Ms. Pearson, we will go ahead and move on to Amendment D, Fondren Road, Gerald Grissom, BGE.
Hello. This
Oh,
Commissioner.
yes. Yes. Ian, did you have a question, Commissioner Rosenberg, or just that you're here?
No, I've been here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Question is, if this is going to be a industrial type transportation facility, warehouse facility, the increased vehicular traffic to that, at that time when those plans are submitted for development, will then it be determined if the developer needs to commit land for right-of-way for additional streets for that traffic to come in, depending on subdivision? And how does all that coordinate with the significant amount more type of industrial traffic, heavy traffic that would be coming to the site and losing the connectivity through the site?
I assume that the streets within the development would be part of the plating review process. But is there staff that wants to address that? Moses Burnside?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, at what point do we determine what types of streets within this development are needed?
That's during the plating. That's not the transportation division, but the plating department, and they'll be happy to help with that.
Right,
And we'll assist wherever we can, but that's part of the plating process.
right. Okay,
Okay.
does that answer your question, Commissioner Rosenberg?
So at that time, if Wayside is determined it needs to cut through, it would be put back on or be re-implemented?
Well, not as a major thoroughfare, if we take it off.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I
when-
guess that's kind of what I'm getting at, that if this site will create significant traffic for the type of development that the owner wants to do, does this become necessary?
yeah, and
I can-
again,
I can speak to that.
okay, go ahead.
So what we have a comprehensive traffic impact analysis. We already have plans submitted to the city for this project. That included the traffic impact analysis. And what we're doing is making improvements to Northdale, and we currently have a replat into the city. It's approved. It just needs to be recorded for an additional 20-foot dedication on the west side of Northdale.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you would be doing a street on the west side of Northdale.
Well, it's improving
Dedicating the right of
Northdale
way.
and widening it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not a transportation engineer, that's why I was asking, because to me it seems odd to go to Wayside, make a turn on Dixie, to make a turn on Northdale to go through, but that's why I'm asking.
Commissioner Rosenberg, we are trying to coordinate closely with TxDOT as well in this process with State Highway 35. So as we go through this process and as we go through this workshop process as well with the MTFP, we'll be able to get more information from interagency coordination and be able to answer a little bit better. But as far as the street right of way and development and building, that is definitely the plating division of this department.
Right. And keep in mind that the city staff has really not had a chance to delve into these amendments yet. This is the kickoff here.
Mhm.
And you have what they have, and they will be, reviewing these with just the type of question you raised. This is an interesting case because in undeveloped places in the county, major thoroughfare lines are lines on a map. They're not, nobody's intending to build a road necessarily. It's just a placeholder for where we think we would need a road when and if development occurs. This is a case
Little
where
different.
there's undeveloped
Mhm.
property within the city with an existing case. So this is a complicated situation, and we'll be talking about it further when these come back to us on July 21st for action.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
also
I
remind you of
forgot
the open
staff.
house as well. You can ask more questions, and hopefully by then, the presenter also will have a little bit more information on the open house, in the open house meeting.
Right. Everybody's welcome to come to the open
Mhm.
house.
Great.
Did you say something, Commissioner Rosenberg?
No, I said that's great, thank you. I forgot staff hasn't had a chance to address these.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. And just for the record, Commissioners
Thank you.
Smith, Sigler, and Rosenberg have joined us. They weren't here for roll call, but they're here. Okay, so we move now back to D, Fondren Road, Gerald Grissom.
Good afternoon, Planning Commission. My name is Gerald Grissom with BGE. The amendment before you is for the alignment of Fondren Road. Next slide, please. It's located in Fort Bend County, City of Houston, city limits, District K. Next slide. We're proposing to simply move the right-of-way east about 587 feet. This will have several impacts to the region. One, there is an existing Fort Bend County drainage channel fee strip. The current alignment crosses that channel at a 33-degree angle and is approximately 200 and 225 feet long. Our proposed amendment would change that very acute angle to 72 degrees, making it much more acceptable. And then also reducing the length to 165 feet. The current alignment bisects a tract. It was one of those that was, like you said earlier, it's Greenland and no real plan, just lines on paper. So now we actually have interest in development in the region. And so that's the reason for the amendment. The developer is proposing to do light industrial warehouses in the area. And so that's really the main reason. We have support from Mayor Pro Tem Cassix Tatum, letter of support. We also have TxDOT letter of support since it does tie into McCard Road. They prefer the alignment at this location because it centers Fondren Road between the Fort Bend Parkway and Blue Ridge Road. So in all, it's we believe it to be a positive improvement for this right of way.
Okay, great. Any questions, commissioners? Right, thank you
thank
very
you.
much. Okay, we move on to Amendment E, Madden Road, Jennifer Curtis with Meta Planning.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairs, Commissioners. My name is Jennifer Curtis with Meta Planning and Design, representing Madden Road. Next slide, please. The site is located in Fort Bend County. Madden Road is a collector street. It extends east-west for just a couple of miles. The portion that's the subject of this request is just barely south of an adjacent east-west thoroughfare that goes the same direction. That's Bissonnet. And the request is to delete the proposed segment of Madden Road and realign a small portion to continue following the existing pavement of Madden Road that we would want to tee into Westmore, which is a future north-south collector street. The area of Westmore and the northern portion of Madden is part of the Trillium single-family development that is undergoing development right now. Fort Bend County has already heard this amendment request at Commissioner's Court, and they have agreed to remove it from the Fort Bend County Thoroughfare Plan. So we're simply asking for the Houston Thoroughfare Plan to match.
Okay, again, this would align our plan with Fort
Yes,
Bend County's plan.
Next slide. So the request is to delete this portion.
Okay, questions, comments? Okay, I think we got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. F, West Airport Boulevard, Alum Road, Rodrigo de la Garza.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Rodrigo de la Garza. I'm here with Studio Red Architects, and we represent the owner of the site, Nueva Jerusalem Church. With me, I have Irving Sanchez and his father, the pastor, Jose Sanchez. We're here to request your consideration for the deletion of the West Airport Road section from the West Airport existing termination at Stone East Drive to Hiram Clark Road. I'm going to give you a little background on the church. The Nueva Jerusalem Church serves a diverse but predominantly Hispanic community of Southwest Houston. It's a fast-growing congregation of nearly 4,000 members that has grown rapidly. And in order to accommodate their fast growth, the church hopes to build an 8,000-seat church in a kindergarten through 12th grade school that would serve a student body of nearly 1,000 kids. It's an exciting project that would include a daycare facility, youth ministry, outdoor gathering spaces, walking trails throughout the site, and a large flexible place of worship with retractable seating. It would be designed in the style of a conference center, a multipurpose area that would be available to the community for large gatherings such as conventions, sporting events, and training exercises. When the church began the master planning process for the site, the Planning and Development Department brought to their attention that the city's MTFP map shows a right-of-way path that does not correspond with either a survey conducted by the church in 2015 or the information that was provided to them by the seller at the time of purchase. After reviewing historical records, it appears that the path of the right-of-way was adjusted as development south of the site expanded. This shift has moved the easement farther north into the church's site and has changed the direction of travel to an east-to-west trajectory. On That is the right slide. The difference in path significantly impacts the church's ability to develop the tract effectively. The section of the site with frontage access and visibility from Highway 90, which is generally the most accessible and developable, is reduced substantially by the proposed alignment. Developing or selling this section of the site is an important part of the church's overall strategy to managing development costs of realizing their vision for the church. It also provides the site in a way, it also divides the site in a way that the project as planned would no longer fit on the site. We think that this would be very detrimental for the success of the project as it reduces options to smaller footprints on the south end of the site. Additionally,
Go ahead.
Additionally, in order to expand West Airport Road, the city would create an overpass that crosses Highway 90. The elevation and gradual slope of the overpass bisecting the site from east to west will create a visual and physical barrier. The physical barrier of an elevated thoroughfare will limit or possibly make it unfeasible to provide adequate vehicular access to the south end of the site. And the visual barrier of an overpass dividing the site could also be detrimental for the success of the project. For the reasons above, we're asking for your consideration in finding a workable solution for the church. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Where exactly is the church? If we could go back to
Yes,
the map.
It is on the southwest, it's in Harris County, District K, southwest corner of the city.
Where on this
On the
map?
By Main Street Fort Bend indicator, I think,
Right, it's the third site.
right there, where the curve
Right
is.
of Fort Bend Parkway.
Yeah,
Okay, so right here. Okay. And how far east does it, is it like, how many of those little red circles? 1, 2, 3, 4. Like 6 of those? Is it?
That's the east end of the site, so. That is the whole church line. So it's four dots.
4 dots. Going east.
Going east, okay,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
okay.
So
Okay.
it's really close to, the entrance is really close to Highway 90. And then it crosses.
Right.
5 dots from there is the east end.
And what's the rationale for deleting it on the other side of
Post Oak.
Maine?
Oh, I'm sorry.
On the north,
On the
not the
airport
heart.
side. On the north side.
Yeah, where the word airport is.
The overpass that would cross
Okay.
Highway 90 would intrude our site,
Goes
you
over
know, and
there.
it's such a
Okay,
gradual
okay,
descent that it would block the majority of our site.
okay.
Well, as a follow-up question, why
Go ahead,
delete?
Commissioner Rosenberg.
As a follow-up question, why delete between Post Oak and Hiram Clark?
Wait, that's what my next question. Why? And so had you thought about having the deletion go from the western point to Post Oak? Why go from Post Oak all the way to Hiram Clark?
We are open to discussing different solutions.
Okay, okay. Anybody else? Any other questions? Ms. Moses Burnside, did you have a
Thank you.
comment?
Thank you, Rodrigo. Madam Chair, I just wanted to step in. Again, you stated earlier, we are in the early process of this workshop. We will be happy to work with the applicant to minimize what the deletion request is based upon what our findings are as we work interagency amongst ourselves to get a better determination of what's needed.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, Commissioner Alleman?
And
you
I
want the
ass-
applicant back?
Oh, no, I just have a question for.
Mhm.
And then I assume you'd look at. But where it could.
It's a little premature and we are considering realignment, the possibility of it. Is there a possibility? Is there a better way? And I don't want to say too much because I know we have Commissioner Lloyd Smith here with Harris County who may not agree but
Yes.
we're working on that process. And
No,
we'll see
no,
what's
but I
best.
just wanted to hear that we're just not gonna.
Don't tell them what we're planning.
That's
Right. But we will be in touch and we're
Yeah.
considering that.
No, there's a lot of deletions on
Yeah.
these amendments and
Yeah.
I hate to see deletions without consideration of realignments, whatever.
Understandable.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
I do have a comment, Chair.
Yes, go
Okay.
ahead.
But it's not me anyway. Just to point out to Ms. Moses Burnside and the commission, the portion on the north side of Main Street does touch a Harris County flood control property that's part of the Willow Waterhole complex there. So I tied between the applications before. This one also relates to the last one because it's another highway railroad
Mhm.
overpass question.
Mhm.
Except in this case, that would be an overpass, I think, that would be likely for the city to have to fund. So it's similar but different, right?
Mhm.
You've got your hands full.
Yeah, and we'd like to work with the church and help where we can. Of course, we're going to look at the best interests of the city as well. And I believe that working with you and your people will come to a great compromise. Okay,
Hey,
thank you.
while you're standing there, talk to us a little bit about this idea that we have, major thoroughfare plans in Montgomery County and Fort Bend County, and I guess we're going to have one in Harris County, and how we coordinate those with our, are we going to have to tweak our system a little bit?
We
or
are, and-
Process?
Madam Chairman, but could I ask you to let David Fields answer that question
Of
as the
course.
Chief
I
Transportation?
didn't even know
Planner?
he was here.
It'd be probably more appropriate.
You
Sure,
were
I will
hiding
step
back
aside.
there, Mr.
Thank you.
Fields.
I was waiting for this question.
Good, great. And that's why you were hiding.
Exactly.
Hi,
Good
welcome.
afternoon,
Thank you.
Commission, Madam Chair, thanks for inviting me up. So the plans are concurrent, and we do our best to make them match. We also have a responsibility to the city of Houston that our plan is something that we have evaluated and assessed and given you our best recommendations. So it can't just be we take any other county's plan and say automatically we can do it. We have to do the due diligence and make the recommendation to you, but we work as hard as we can to match those up.
Okay. And I mean, we do have an interest in our ETJ as well, even though that's in another county, but
Yes, ma'am.
it seems like maybe we could do two processes I don't know. It's complicated. Like who goes first? It's sort of like if you get it on your books, then it's hard for the other entity to say no. So,
We're also working hard to match up the time period so we understand when another county is going to be, a county is going to be making changes. And if it doesn't fit within our process that's already on the books, we can open up something specifically for them to get that to match. And that's an ongoing improvement that we're doing right now.
cool. That's great. Commissioner
It's
Smith?
not just counties that Mr. Fields has to coordinate with. A situation came to my attention this week where one of the other 33 cities in Harris County made a change to their thoroughfare map and deleted a segment that is out in the county and connects or used to connect. So the question is, what now? They came to
Right.
me from the precinct that advised me of it. So challenging all the time.
It is challenging and we are always trying to get that predictability so people know, what to expect when they purchase land, when they own land, whatever. But thank you for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Okay, so do we have any other comments on, are we on?
West Airport.
Yes, West Airport. Is that, we're done? Okay, thank you so much. We'll look forward to working with you. Then we will move to G, which is Fairview Street and an unnamed thoroughfare.
Right, so Adam France with VG, Fairview Street / unnamed thoroughfare. This thoroughfare was added to the Montgomery County Thoroughfare Plan in 2016 on the plan that HGAC did. City of Houston then adopted it on theirs in 2021. Montgomery County's thoroughfare plan was amended, and this particular segment was downgraded or reclassified from a major thoroughfare to a major collector. So we're asking that the City of Houston major thoroughfare and freeway plan be amended to match Montgomery County's plan.
Okay. Any
Questions?
Any questions?
No alignment change?
No alignment change, no, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, we are on H North Park Drive. George Lee.
Yes, this is George Lee with Skymark Development. Skymark Development, on behalf of Hanover Estate Ltd., is requesting the deletion of proposed major thoroughfare North Park Drive between Salters McLean Road and Townsend Boulevard, Townsend Road. It's in deleted from the City of Houston major thoroughfare freeway plan. Back in August last year, Montgomery County already adopted the amendment to delete this portion of North Park Drive from the major thoroughfare plan. So we are asking the city to do the same to match their plans.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, any comments from our Montgomery County representative? Hearing none, okay.
I'd like to add one more thing, ma'am.
Sure.
We do get a support from the Montgomery County Precinct 4 Commissioner. We have a support letter from Commissioner.
Okay, so Precinct 4 Montgomery County is in favor.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, no questions? All right, thank you. We will move on
Thank
to
you.
I West Road. Blake Waymeyer.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Blake Wiemeyer, appearing on behalf of Boyer Properties, as well as Mr. Robert Thomas and Mr. Lionel Rodriguez. Those are the three property owners affected by the deletion of Pinafore Lane that I'm requesting. Next slide, please. This particular street is located in the Aldine area. It is, next slide, please. Go to the map. The portion I'm requesting deleted is Pinafore Lane from the east side of Luth Road to the west side of Reeveson Road. The tract that Boyer Properties owns borders Luth Road, and the tracts that Mr. Thomas and Mr. Rodriguez own are the tracts where it takes a dive to the south, are those two tracts that they own. This particular area is outside the city limits in the city's ETJ. It first appeared on the MTFP in 2009 under this current alignment. And in addition, we have support from almost a dozen landowners in the area, as well as the support letter from Precinct 2 and staff. With that, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Any questions? And this is a full deletion.
Yes, ma'am.
As opposed to any kind of realignment. Are all the landowners in support who touched the alignment?
Yes, ma'am. That is us, Mr. Thomas and Mr. Rodriguez.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, I think we're good. Thank you. All right, J. Louetta Road, Adam France. Back again.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and Madam Chair. Thank you for the opportunity to present again. This is Louetta Road. This is located Harris County Precinct 3. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Dunham Point development or not. This is located within that development. We are requesting deletion of Louetta Road south of US 290 from US 290 to Mountain Road, and then the major collector from Mountain to Jack. July 20th of 2021, the property owner had executed with Harris County's Commissioners Court a memorandum of understanding in support of deletion of this. So I would just like to bring that to your attention. There are also several physical encumbrances that would make this particular alignment very challenging. When US 290 was reconstructed, there is an exit ramp on the north side that's at grade. On the south side, there's an entrance ramp at grade, which would create a major conflict point. And also there's no grade separation provided where Louetta would cross US 290.
Questions?
Any questions?
We're all right. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Okay, now we get to the Kingwood Drive package. There are 5 separate amendments. Ms. Curtis is here.
Document camera, please, HTV.
Sorry, thank you for having me back again. Jennifer Curtis, Meta Planning and Design. I apologize for the large set. I will try to go as quickly as I can. The amendments are collectively under the name Kingwood Drive. There's 4 separate streets, largely all in the same area. And not necessarily all connected, but related. One of the major factors in this area is the floodway and floodplain of Luce Bayou or Lucy Bayou, variably known. It's hard to see on this drawing. We weren't able to get the floodplain and floodway on the slides that are in the slideshow, so I wanted to briefly bring your attention to that creek that goes through this property. The scale is deceptive. The floodplain and floodway ranges between 1,000 and 2,000 feet wide in this area, and those are pre-Harvey measurements. So it's very, very substantial. Had a brief conversation with Harris County Flood Control about this property, and they were, of course, very concerned about having major impacts to the floodplain and the floodway in this area. So that has been a driver of several of the amendments that I'm about to present. So if I have some hard copies too, for those of you who are here, if you'd like a hard copy of this exhibit.
Yeah, if you have.
But we can go on to the rest of the slideshow as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, if you can go ahead to the slideshow. Yes, that's good for now. And we can put it back up at the end if there are questions too. Next slide, please. Oh, I think we skipped one. Can we go back one? That's fine, just for a moment.
Okay.
I just wanted to talk briefly. The site is located in both Harris and Liberty County. So there's multiple jurisdictions, and we've assembled lots of different major thoroughfare networks from multiple different areas and kind of stitched them together into one map. So we've done our best to represent all the parties. Next slide. Kingwood Drive specifically, we're making two very related requests to Kingwood Drive. The first one is to realign this portion of Kingwood Drive to stay as far out of the floodplain and floodway of Luce Bayou as we can. The bridge crossing that would be required in this area is, I think the floodplain is 2,700 feet wide because we're crossing at an angle at the location that's shown today on the thoroughfare plan. So we're trying to hug the floodplain and kind of go north to where we can cross at a more of a right angle and also at a narrower part of the floodplain. That exit point on the east also leads to 1B. If you can skip to the next, to 1B, yes, please, which is to add another segment of Kingwood where, there we go. So that northern entry point of the realigned Kingwood is a narrower crossing of Luce Bayou, and it also puts us directly in line with the Grand Parkway, which has pretty much finished construction and is just about to open in this area. And that has really opened up development and added a lot more certainty. South here hits an underpass only for the Grand Parkway, so there's no ramps. So this connection hits that interchange, which is much better for regional mobility, and also continues further east on Liberty County's major thoroughfare plan, and the city of Dayton goes all the way east to FM 321, which is a major north-south route. So we feel like this connection is stitching together a much stronger regional network of east-west and north-south connections for the community. So that's kind of Kingwood A and B in a nutshell. If you could go.
So will you, so in terms of this big wide floodplain, will there be development there? Or, I mean, get the road out of the way. Where will the
I'm sorry.
development
So
be?
the property that most of these amendments are on has been considered, it's been on the market for many years. Actually, I myself have looked at it before under the auspices of other firms, and it's never been able to move forward, partially because of the floodway and partially because of the complexity of the thoroughfare plan. The Grand Parkway has built out and is providing more impetus for development, and there's a client who is looking at developing it as largely a master plan single family community. And part of the impetus for this request is that we're trying to nail all that down to make sure that there's a feasible, constructible thoroughfare network in this area. And that opens up the property for development.
Okay, got it.
So I'm sorry, yes.
Commissioner, before you go on, Commissioner Jones.
Thank you. It looks like the Grand Parkway at this proposed Kingwood intersection is an overpass or will be? If it's built today, is the Grand Parkway an overpass at that proposed location?
The location that Kingwood goes on today's map is only an underpass. The next exchange north that we're proposing to connect this new segment to is a full interchange.
Okay.
And would the connection with the other Kingwood, so you'd have to go further to get to Kingwood, or could you still access through the other interchange? Yeah, I
If we
mean,
can
there'd
go
still
back
be a
to the
road
overall
there.
map briefly. I think it's the second slide in the slideshow before this one. Yes. There we go. Nope. One more. There, right there. Right there. Okay. So you can just barely see to the south is the portion of existing Kingwood today, and we're not proposing to change that. That's not within the scope of our development, and it still serves east-west mobility between Miller Wilson and the Grand Parkway, where it has an underpass. We're adding an additional thoroughfare to the north, which would be New Kingwood.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Sorry.
We good?
Go ahead. We didn't mean to.
Okay.
Interrupt.
Can we go back to B? I'm sorry. K2. Okay. Miller Wilson Road. So this segment of Miller Wilson Road goes directly across the floodway of Loose Bayou, very similar concerns to the previous. The floodway and floodplain here is about somewhere between 1,100 and 1,600 feet. The special challenge of this segment is that to bridge that, the two sides of a bridge would be two separate property owners. My client doesn't control the southern landing point of that bridge. So very challenging to construct, very wide bridge, and of course impacts to the floodplain and floodway. And considering just the complexities of this area, we're requesting to delete this segment of Miller Wilson where it crosses Loose Bayou. Next slide, please. Oh, and that's the request to delete. Okay. Yes, please, Magnolia Lane. So Magnolia Lane is a major collector. It's just 2 miles wide between Wolf Trot and FM 2100 on the northern portion of this area. And I believe it was added, I can speculate that it was added really to act as an intermediary between Kingwood to the south and the next thoroughfare further north. They're about 2 miles apart and there was no thoroughfare there. So I'm guessing it was added to kind of bridge the gap in that 2 mile space. But since we're proposing to add Kingwood as a new additional thoroughfare, we want to kind of minimize the crossings of Loose Bayou, and we think that the new thoroughfare will kind of take the place of the traffic that Magnolia as a collector was intended to handle in this area. And so we think that an additional crossing, an additional major collector is not needed because we're now having thoroughfares at a 1 mile grid. So the request is to delete the portion of Magnolia that crosses the creek very close to the thoroughfare that we're proposing to add. Last one, please. Which is Wolf Trot Road. Yes, please. And if you could, perfect, go to the map. So the request here for Wolf Trot Road actually doesn't have anything to do with floodway and floodplain. This segment appears to straddle kind of several different property lines, and it's really more a question of interpretation that hasn't been clear over the past few years. Where a thoroughfare straddles a property line, is it meant to be split half and half between the various developers, or is it meant to be all on one developer? And where it's all on one developer, usually the interpretation has been that we can kind of realign it within our property, but that hasn't always been the case in the preceding years. And so really this request is an amendment required for us to move it around in our property? Or if it hugs the property line, by this action, can we define that and say, yes, it hugs the property line, or yes, it is inside our property and we can wiggle it around? And that was really the purpose of bringing Wolf Trot to your attention. It's unclear.
And does it have to always be the same interpretation?
That itself has been unclear. The interpretation seems to have been fluid in the past few years, and that's specifically why I wanted to bring it to your attention.
Okay, interesting.
And that's the end of my presentation.
Okay, any questions? This is complicated, and you're working with Harris County, I assume, on
I think Fred and, gosh, I cannot remember his name, but someone from the transportation group in a couple different meetings early on. We've been talking about this since last year. I had a phone call with Liberty County engineer for the addition of Kingwood. We had conversations with both of the other affected property owners between us and the Grand Parkway. They were all in support. And had a call with flood control as well. So we've been trying our best to reach out to our neighbors and make sure that this is all kosher.
Commissioner Smith?
I sort of point out a macro issue, and then as Ms. Curtis has pointed out, there's a lot of details that follow that. But I'll point out one interpretation I had on the handout map. If staff could show this one, it would help. Or if you look at the
Document
lower
camera,
end of
please.
the exhibit, Huffman Crosby is the state maintained FM road, and then the Grand Parkway cutting across the northeastern part of the exhibit is the Grand Parkway, another state road. And so currently, I believe it's true that those are the only two crossings of Loose Bayou within the stretch that we're looking at. Is that correct to your knowledge, Ms. Curtis?
The current map.
Not the map. I'm on the ground today.
Oh, on the ground today.
I believe it's
yes,
2100 at the bottom of the exhibit, and now the Grand Parkway has created a second crossing of Loose Bayou.
It does go through some of the neighborhoods down there, and there might be like a local street crossing, but nothing major.
So my sort of large picture point is there's 5 miles roughly between those two, and our current map proposed 3 crossings of Loose Bayou, and I think you've stated that any one of those 3 is problematic, being a half-mile long bridge. So I, for one, am open to revising 3 down to another number. What's proposed here is 1. So I believe the staff, in looking at these large-scale changes, typically will do some modeling work with HGAC and sort of confirm, is 1 the right number, is 2 the right number, and that'll be part of the input that you'll get back from the staff, and we'll have to discuss as we go along. Correct?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Nelson?
I'm unable to really see the detail, but since we're talking about crossing Loose Bayou several times and Loose Bayou floodplain, is this anywhere in near the vicinity of the Loose Bayou water transfer project, the canal?
The canal is about 3 to 5 miles east and south of this area.
So I'm assuming that the City of Houston Public Works would be involved in anything that might have any impact on that. So.
I don't know that these amendments would have a direct impact on the canal, but I would sort of lean on engineering and flood control to advise on that.
And we'll make a note for staff to make sure that they do include Public Works if there is an impact.
I would appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
thank you.
Take care of that. Thanks. Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. Any other comments, questions on this? Okay, well, everybody has a lot of work to do in the next, over the summertime. And thank you all presenters for doing such a great job at being brief. We're here, like, we have another half hour. So what do you want to talk about? We could go through the definitions and the abbreviations of everything. Yeah. We could go outside and get some exercise. I think Ms. Moses Burnside has some for next step comments.
Yes, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank you all for your time today. I do want to make mention before I go through the next steps. We are in the process now of interagency coordination. So this is where we begin to bring in Houston Public Works, to bring in flood control. So we will have more information for you at the public hearing regarding those concerns. So thank you for making mention of that. So our next step, you can go ahead and start clicking. We've already done the Planning Commission workshop. We've got the public open house that's coming. I do encourage you all to attend. What date is that? I can't see it. It's June 15th. June 15th, and it's in the evening. If you can attend, please join us. It's only virtual. It's only a virtual meeting, so please do attend with more questions if you have them. Then, of course, we're going to go from that to the public hearing where we'll have more information for you. And then the commission action meeting, which is on September 1st. And all we ask is that you all make a decision and please forward this information to City Council by September 30th as required by the ordinance.
Okay, and Thank you. And also, if any of the commissioners think of additional questions, Sharon's your person
Yes.
to communicate with, and she'll make sure that those get put into the mix.
Email me, give me a call, look on the website. You're welcome to make comments and let us know what you think and what your concerns are, and we'll be happy to address those as we go through the process.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? We do, I think, have public comment on the, do we have public comment on the?
We put it on the agenda in case someone arrived and
Yeah.
wanted to talk about it, but if there's no one here,
We need, well, and I'll ask, is there anyone listening or in the room who has a general question that they wish to address, ask the commission at this time on the major thoroughfare plan? Hearing none, is there a motion for adjournment? Alderman, is there a second?
Rosenberg.
Rosenberg, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned, and we will see you back here at 2:30.
thank you.
Thanks. Okay.